Our top focus on the broadcast remains India's acquisition of 4 Heron drones deployed in Ladakh. These drones or unmanned aerial vehicles will enhance India's surveillance capabilities in Ladakh along the line of actual control. Now, these are very capable unmanned aerial vehicles. These drones are already deployed. They're now with our armed forces and come armed with advanced anti-jamming capabilities. Now, this is, like we said, procured as part of an emergency procurement, special powers given to the Ministry of Defence, to the armed forces for emergency acquisition to better counter the threat along the line of actual control. And these will boost in a major way India's capabilities. The Heron drones are made in Israel. They have an endurance of about 45 hours. Once airborne, they can remain airborne for 45 hours. They can loiter in the sky at about 35,000 feet altitude and are armed with ultra long-range surveillance cameras. So they can look deep into enemy territory, take and relay pictures. They're also the ones that India has acquired, have the automatic takeoff and landing capabilities. So this is a major boost to India's capabilities. 4 of these drones have now been acquired. Let me now tell you much more about these systems in this report.
By sheer numbers, it's India's biggest eye in the sky. The Israel-built Heron surveillance drone. The Indian Armed Forces operate nearly 100 of these unmanned reconnaissance planes, deploying them wherever required across the country. For surveillance to be a dependable eye in the sky, including in Ladakh amidst border tensions. But now, after over a decade of service, the Indian government wants these Herons to go to the next level. The Ministry of Defence cleared a long-pending program to upgrade its Heron drones and weaponize them. India today has learnt that the project, in collaboration with Israel, will see the Heron drones fitted with laser-guided bombs, standoff air-to-ground missiles and anti-tank guided missiles capable of remote precision strike missions. Designated Project Cheetah and said to be worth over 3,000 crore rupees, the Heron arming project will look to give the surveillance drone the ability to carry and fire spice-guided bombs similar to the ones used in the Balakot strikes, and spike anti-armor missiles. A modified version of an Indian air-to-ground strike weapon is also said to be part of the plan. Flown remotely by ground controllers, armed Herons will be capable of flying hundreds of kilometers away to deploy weapons at targets. The quest to upgrade and arm the Herons has been on the table for years, as hinted, not very subtly, by this 2018 marketing video by Israeli aerospace industries, clearly showing India as the area of operations for this higher performance Heron. Like with several other emergency procurements, the current border tensions with China have forced India to dust Project Cheetah off the shelf and place it on the fast track. While the existing Heron fleet will now be upgraded and armed, India has also been interested for years in acquiring the Iton you see here, a larger and more capable version of the Heron. This recent video is of the first flight of an Iton being supplied by Israel to Germany. The India-Israel project is all set to begin now. The Herons that could once only see will soon have teeth for a fight. With Manjeet Negi in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
I quickly want to bring into this conversation India Today's executive editor Shiv Arur. Shiv, the 4 Herons that have now been acquired and deployed along the line of actual control. Now, these Herons with their 45-hour long endurance, anti-jamming systems, ultra long-range cameras are expected not just to enhance surveillance capabilities, but tell me more about what impact are they likely to have now that they're deployed in Ladakh, Shiv?
Well, Gaurav, given the hardening of the Chinese positions on their side in eastern Ladakh, it was only a matter of time before the Indian military felt the need to actually ramp up its surveillance capabilities in this area to keep very close, real-time, high-resolution tabs on their movements, on their deployments, on their depots, weapons depots, their vehicular columns and movements. And therefore, these four brand new Heron drones from Israel are there precisely for that reason. These are high altitude, long endurance drones that are capable of medium endurance and medium altitude drones that are capable of very high resolution real time imagery, providing our military planners and intelligence agencies, the fastest, most updated visual information about, Chinese deployments, their numbers, where precisely they are geographically, how things have actually changed with another harsh winter actually coming in. And the reason why this is also important, Gaurav, is because the Heron drones have pretty advanced electro-optical sensors that are capable of very detailed imagery, also providing streams of video, to ground stations where things can be studied in real time. The reason why these are important is because this is the second winter where you're seeing this huge deployment stacked up on the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh, and there is still an air of uncertainty ever since talks broke down during the last round of talks between both sides about what precisely China plans to achieve. There's been a lot of propaganda from their side whether there will be any sudden moves or not. Even though we already have lots of air assets in that area, these four Heron drones will go a long way in providing an even clearer picture to our military planners for anything untoward that China may be planning.
And this becomes extremely crucial because disruptive technology is what will be a battle-winning factor in times to come. So you have your satellites to keep an eye on the enemy. You have these aircraft, you have unmanned aerial vehicles to keep an eye on what's happening on the other side of the hill. That is what soldiers wanted to know from time immemorial. But drones clearly are the future of warfare, not just ones that can see or ones that can fire, that are called unmanned combat aerial vehicles. But in high altitude warfare, it's extremely important to be able to carry loads. In the past, you either had helicopters or mules that would take heavy cargo up to certain points at posts, or soldiers themselves had to carry their equipment on their backpack. Now, Indian Army is also acquiring cargo drones that can carry up to 20 kilograms, and these drones are not just being tested in extreme high altitude areas, they're also being deployed there. Hot meals delivered by a swarm of drones to Chinese soldiers at high altitude. A propaganda video that was released at the peak of the India-China standoff in Ladakh. A move by China to taunt India and highlight India's lack of such a capability. And while the Chinese were certainly right, India has taken the taunt constructively. And Battlecry has the exclusive scoop on how India has reacted. What you're looking at here is a fully made in India cargo drone for high altitude troops, seen here being tested in the forbidding terrain of Ladakh. 48 of these drones have just been ordered by the Indian Army in a milestone fast-track contract to Indian firm Rafe M-Fiber. These drones, called MR-20, are capable of carrying loads of up to 20 kilograms. And in thin air of extreme high altitude, that's a huge amount. Operating individually or in groups, each drone can carry items that include food, fuel, medical supplies, emergency equipment, weapons, ammunition, and anything else that troops may require in forward areas in high altitude. The use of these drones will also drastically cut down the need for helicopter flights that are inherently risky to pilots. And unmanned drones mean more deliveries can be conducted per day with no crew fatigue. utility of such drones is not difficult to imagine. And with a startup fleet of 48, the Indian Army will be able to serve several forward posts with items they need, forming a robust air bridge that becomes a powerful supply chain. The MR-20 drones will begin deliveries shortly to the Indian Army. The company that makes them is among a slew of cutting-edge firms serving the needs of a future battlefield and is working closely with the Army to get set for a new paradigm in military logistics. Drones for delivery will soon be a part of daily life, with companies like Amazon, FedEx and UPS embracing such technology for a new delivery mantra. And while Ladakh will be the first playground for this new capability, expect cargo drones to spread wide in the armed forces in the months and years ahead. Bureau Report, India Today. I once again want to bring in India Today's Executive Editor Shiv Arur for more on this. Shiv, disruptive technology, not just these drones are not just a force multiplier, they would actually be a battle-winning factor.
Well, I can tell you since May 2020, Gaurav, drones have become very much, a part of the warfare arsenal on the Indian side in eastern Ladakh. The truth has to be told, it was because of this entire standoff with China that emergency procurements and, many other plans have been fast-tracked and accelerated. And that's the reason why you're seeing not just a whole lot of surveillance drones, including the 4 brand new Herons, but also other, completely never-before capabilities in terms of drones being deployed there. Hand-launched drones like the Switch. You're seeing cargo handling drones which are capable of, delivering 20 kilograms of payload to very high-altitude troops. You're also seeing swarm drones which are, going to be deployed there very, very shortly. They've already been contracted. And the great thing about many of these drones, these game-changing drones, is they're all, like we've reported, made by Indian designers, built here in India and supplied to the Indian military. So we're not getting them from abroad. The Herons, of course, are Israeli, but many of the other more tactical infantry level drones are made right here in India. And this winter and beyond, we're going to see precisely what their worth really is. They're going to be earning their money by actually doing what they're designed to do. Swarm drone operations, coordinated, coordinated surveillance using swarm drones, cargo delivery in the most forbidding and most high altitude posts. All of that's going to happen. So this winter is going to be a big test.
Oh, absolutely. Shiv, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. Plus, the Indian Navy with its Predators. Again, longer endurance, and Predators are drones that the adversaries would be apprehensive about. We will continue to track this story very closely. But I now want to shift focus to the other big story we're tracking here on India Today. So days after Prime Minister Narendra Modi apologized to farmers and the 3 farm laws were withdrawn in Parliament, are the farmers now split wide open on the next course of action and future course of action? There are some divisions being reported amongst multiple farmer unions at Delhi's borders on what to do next. Farmers from Punjab, for example, they already get the minimum support price, and in case the legal cases, the FIRs are withdrawn against farmers of Haryana and Punjab, well, farmers want to get back to their fields. Also, they want their 10-year-old tractors to be permitted to fly. There are certain other conditions, but they want to talk to the government about these issues and then move back. Farmers from Uttar Pradesh, some led by Rakesh Tikait, want to continue their agitation. So are they now split wide open? Kumar Kunal reports.
They have not budged from the borders. 1 year on, the protest is showing no signs of waning. The Prime Minister's move to revoke the 3 laws has not fully satisfied the farmers.
हमने 3 कृषि कानूनों को वापस लेने का, रिपील करने का निर्णय लिया है.
The appeal by the government to call off the stir and return home has been turned down. The farmer wants more from the government. A legal guarantee on MSP is the primary demand. The unions also want all cases against farmers to be withdrawn and compensation for those who died during the struggle. The other issues are related to stubble burning, the sacking of Union Minister Ajay Mishra Teni, and withdrawal of the electricity bill. Even as the umbrella organization of farmers set a new deadline, differences are cropping up on when to call off the stir. Some farmer groups in Punjab and Haryana say they are ready to pack up their protest if government gives in to two of their demands.
देखो हमारा तो फैसला यही है कि एमएसपी पर कमेटी बने और कमेटी में सभी जो भारत के लोग हैं उनमें से एक को किसान नेता को ले लिया जाए.
सभी पर्चे जो हैं वो कैंसिल होने चाहिए. एफआईआर सब उनको कैंसिल करना चाहिए. जब वो कैंसिल करेंगे उसके बाद एमएसपी के ऊपर जो कमेटी बनी उसको लीगलाइज तब तक नहीं, जब तक करते हैं तब तक ये आंदोलन नहीं खत्म होगा भाई.
Rakesh Tiket, who has been spearheading the agitation, is not too happy with his fellow farmers in other states going soft on the demands.
सब टारगेट पे सरकार के हैं. जो जितना जल्दी यहाँ से जाएगा उतना ही जल्दी जेल भी जाएगा. सब है तो ज्यादा खुशी मनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. अभी संयुक्त मोर्चा इकट्ठा रहें.
Tiket even took a jibe at these farmers, asking them to come clean on their talks with the government.
क्या आपको लगता है कि कुछ संगठनों की सरकार से भी पीछे के रास्ते बात
होगी? ये भी हमने बुझा कि किसी की कोई बातचीत सरकार से हुई हो तो स्पष्ट करे कि उसकी कहां तक बात हुई और किससे बात हुई. बगैर मुकदमों के वापसी के, बगैर एमएसपी के, भारत सरकार से बातचीत करे बिना यहां से कोई जाने को तैयार नहीं है.
As another long winter sets in, there is restlessness growing. Many feel a big part of the battle was won with the laws being annulled in Parliament on Monday. The fight for MSP and other issues could continue without squatting behind barricades. Bureau Report, India Today.
And then there was this meeting between former Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh and the Chief Minister of Haryana. There are talks that some of the leaders in Punjab and Haryana are in touch with farmer unions from Punjab and Haryana. We'll be tracking that story very, very closely. But for the moment, I want to shift focus to the other big story, and that is this raging debate. Should there be a ban on international travel, especially from countries that have reported Omicron variant cases of the COVID-19? Now, the World Health Organization, as of now, is against any travel ban, saying that South Africa is being unfairly penalized for making the world wake up to the new threat. India has decided to wait it out. But several states now want the government to either check very carefully or, for now, stop travellers from Omicron-impacted countries. Sneha Mordani gets us more.
Nations are rushing to close borders to African countries. Many European countries have suspended flights from South Africa and some of its neighbors. Japan has blocked arrivals from all countries. Is the sudden ban fair? Will it stop the transmission of Omicron? The WHO says countries are jumping the gun. There is very little evidence of Omicron's volatility to merit such drastic measures.
WHO recommends that countries continue to apply a risk-based and a scientific approach when implementing travel measures, in accordance with the temporary recommendations of the 9th Emergency Committee. And it is important to note that every travel measures should be always weighed, and that countries can do a lot already in terms of surveillance and sequencing.
WHO in fact feels that South Africa and other affected countries need to be applauded.
South Africa and Botswana should be thanked for detecting, sequencing and reporting this variant, not penalized. Indeed, Omicron demonstrates just why the world needs a new accord on pandemics Our current system disincentivizes countries from alerting others to threats that will inevitably land on their shores.
Many virus experts agree with the WHO that travel bans, they say, serve little purpose.
I don't think that shutting down borders is necessarily the solution to limiting entry of a virus. It can do that, but it's not something that's sustainable. However, testing and tracking and making sure that we identify infected individuals and their contacts is something that we can pursue as a public health strategy.
But a world hit again and again by various COVID mutations is not taking chances.
When you diminish or stop or block travel from a particular country, there's a reason for that. It's to give you time to do things.
The chorus for a ban on international travel now is only growing after Delhi, Maharashtra has also approached the centre asking them to ban flights from countries that have been affected by Omicron. But the government of India is right now adopting a wait-and-watch approach given the fact that the World Health Organization is absolutely against it and the scientific community also has apprehensions around travel ban. In New Delhi, Sneha Murdani for India Today.
GDP numbers, why has Maruti cut production? All that and much more coming up on Business Today with Chaiti Narula. Stay with us.